it's there again, and again we're looking at DC20 as well as D&D this time. Because I was asked by, hopefully I get your name correct, PHGCZ underscore 84 to do, well, do you look at the DC20 classes versus the D&D classes? And, yeah, we had a nice pleasant exchange of comments. Not so much with this guy, but, yeah, I still appreciate the interactions, though. Because I don't get that many comments in general, and not as high screen comments as I got in this video, but anyway. So the last video wasn't my best video ever, but I still stand by it because it was still just a first impressions video, not a review in any way. I still don't get how people get the idea of review from me never saying review or showing review anywhere in the video. But anyway. So yeah, we didn't get this far in the last time because, well, we bounced before it. This game just isn't for me, but we're gonna try to look at the classes anyway. And I still don't quite get how you're supposed to build your character. I don't think it ever really said it outside of, well, character creation outline. Yeah, oh, class is near last. Ancestry, but where's your background? I still don't get where the background is. Maybe they just mean skill, trades, languages, etc. But what order are you supposed to do that in? We can go there now and see. Sorry, I'm not exactly prepared for this because I want to get this done. So this will be the very next video uploaded because I don't want to be tally. But anyway. And also this has D&D basic rules on the right side for 5e. It is, well, the basic rules. It's a quick start guide for D&D, and is the only really legal true PDF for D&D 5e uh, about their core rules, and it has the classes in it anyway, so we'll just use that. You can easily find PDFs of 5e. In fact, this comes up as the first search result. Comes up as the first search result. Let me save real quick. I've been having some issues with Windows today, but anyway. Not like I haven't had issues with Windows a lot since I got this computer, or just ever, but anyway. No, let's not get sidetracked by the. Why'd you do that? Why did you do that? Okay, where are classes? I was actually getting sidetracked by trying to create my character again. Well, let's just see. I don't want that. I want this. Yeah, okay, so I guess skills and trades and languages. Background story equipment, which doesn't exist. Mystical defense, damage reduction. Oh, that's not in that order. Okay, so you go skills, trades, languages, starting equipment. Again, why are they using background if they don't use background? Let's head back to the top. So I think we might be able to make a character now. Well, I read that bit a bit more. But again, that last video was me looking at it for the first time. If you ask literally anyone on the internet, even in real life, what happens when they look at a rulebook for the first time, they will not say, "Oh, I got it completely correct, and it's perfect. I make a review of it." No, it takes multiple readings for them to make a review. It's not just one thing you sit down, look at a thing, and could do a perfect review just from looking at the thing. That's your first impressions. So I wasn't making a review. I was thinking first impressions, but anyway, I'm not harping on that point. Let's go to Colossus. 155, 115. I mean, sure. Let's look at Barbarian. Know what? That is very similar to how D&D does its PDFs. But why now that I think about it. And I do like what the player handbook is. It's just that it's too much bloat for not enough rules, for not enough crunch for me. Like, why do you need 3 rule books to do what most games do in 300 pages or less? They sort of clerk interesting. Actually, let's start with how they describe the classes, which is in this section of classes. Interesting. See, we run into a problem. Starting equipment, you get starting equipment with your class, but you pick your class dead last or near last. That seems like an order of operations error with character creation and DC20. Like they didn't really think about that much, but anyway. Barbarian, barbarian, barbarian. Where are you, barbarian? If there is barbarian in 5 in the basic rules, there should be. Barbarian seems like oh no, there isn't barbarian. Okay, not barbarian then. Not bar's not gonna happen. Oh, it's in the WC order, I think. Clark. There we go. Clark works. Because we saw it over here. Again, they need wasting like 3 paragraphs on flavor text. 4 paragraphs on flavor text. My bad. Uh, whereas they're only using 1. Very good. Very good. You don't need that much flavor text, D&D. You don't really need that much flavor text. I think it goes on and on and on about the flavor text. What do they say? Range from a knowledgeable knight to range from a knowledgeable priest to a knight in shining armor. Okay, so the Clark is also a paladin. Interesting. Paladin slash knight. Whereas D&D has separated those classes. So there is some I mean, what I was able to glean by just skimming through it when I was responding to his comment or their comment the other day is that the classes in DC20 are very, 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 very streamlined. As you can see just from their descriptions. This is a one pair. This is at most a 2 paragraph description. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 paragraph description. That's a lot of wasted words, but anyway. At least in my opinion, for how bloated I know for how bloated another player's handbook is. Like it uses 300 pages for just something for the players to make their character with, and the core rules. That's kind of not okay, but anyway, equally not okay to what DC20 has. Um, in terms of what they price it as. Again, like the basic rules are free. 100. Essentially, these are very similar documents. The playtest, the playtest rules preview, um, and the basic rules 2.0 are both very similar documents, just in general. they both give you all their levels. DC20 has less levels apparently, or it could just be for the playtest. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure I saw in one of his videos that he wanted to limit it to just 10 levels, which is, I feel, very, very limiting. But the reason why he wanted to do it is because he didn't want to get into the slog of late D&D. Which, why don't you make your game not have the slog like so many other games? My game for Stream, for instance, doesn't have the slog because you and has fluid levels, so you can a level 1 given enough skill or enough in the right spot or with enough level 1s can defeat a level 10, which is a near god, could even be a god character. It's possible, and level 10 could just remove all its levels to exchange it for XP to buy an empire or whatever. Buy a really, really nice fleet and stuff like that. It's very fluid how levels of XP work with the trim, which helps with the beginner aspect and people who are disabled because it's easier. Because instead of keeping track of something that only goes up, which is what XP is like in normal D&D, in my game, it's more fluid. So you're always adding and subtracting. So if you make a mistake, it's less harmful than in D&D. Another thing that's interesting is in D&D here, they tell you which spells you get, whereas in DC20 they don't. You get features and traits and talents. Interesting. You don't get individual spells or anything like that. Interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, that's very different. So let's look at level 1 for each. Yeah, D&D using so many words. We're looking for spellcasting divine domain. These are spells. I didn't realize that. Spellcasting is a common for divine power. You can cast collect spells. Sure. I mean, that's not terrible. That's very standard. Having having keywords like this, like spellcasting. Collect. How to describe it's pretty bad though. Like, it should be cleric spellcasting, not just spellcasting. That seems very generic to me. Uh, but anyway, it's very generic when in D&D, of course, every freaking class has its own spellcasting solution going on, which is fun. I like that. It's very fun, very fun, very fluffy and crunchy at the same time. Why are you doing it? Windows 1. But yeah, no, but yeah, it's fine, but you really should. It's like, why do you put generic terms in a non-generic place? Like, generic terms should be in their own spot in an index, in a term section, stuff like that. They shouldn't be in your main reading material. Because would the wizard have this in it, for instance? It may or may not. I don't know. I'm not quite sure which one I like. I'm not quite sure which one I prefer. But if you were only interested in the wizard, never looked at Clark and the wizard, didn't have spellcasting, you wouldn't miss that rule entirely. But anyway, so divine domain. Divine domain is what we're looking for. Okay. Windows 11's being really bad today. But anyway. So, choose one domain related to your deity. Do you get any spells? Oh, are they the same, though? No, they're the same. Instead of divine domain, you get cleric order. Clark Order, really just teachings granting you the ability for any type of the divine damage and secret roll. Okay, divine damage. Choose a divine damage type, radiant or umbral. That's a different word. We make a spell attack with a divine spell. Interesting. Again, like you got interesting. That's very interesting. Based on what we know from before, if that's correct, even this allows for less genericism and how it allows for less again, it further reinforces the whole idea of specialization in DC20. Because what happens if you have both enemies in the campaign? If a cleric only has radiant, if there's only one cleric and the cleric only has radiant damage, can the GM throw in an umbral damage only monster? No, they cannot. So are you really supposed to? I mean, that means, that kind of means one thing for DC20 is you gotta build your class at the table in a session 0. You cannot do what you do in D&D, and many other games like Star Wars D6, and make your class off the table. Star Wars D6, Mech Warrior, no Battletech, stuff like that. Yeah. You can make your class outside the table once you have an understanding of the campaign, or just for a general sake. Priest can spend MP to cast a spell that restores HP. Okay. To at least one creature, you can restore 1 HP to a creature within one space, including yourself, that wasn't healed by a spell. Okay, that's fine. Again, this is like DC20 is much better written than D&D is, or it's just really well written in general. It's just the format could be better. How things are listed in the PDF could be better. Their checking of their nonsense needs to be better too. Like where is background? I just couldn't find it last time. And I bounced because of it. Anyway, okay. So I guess, yeah, a level one cleric does not get any spells. Interesting. In D&D. Interesting. And you get 3 known cleric. They get 3 known cantrips, but no spells. Oh, you can choose your cantrip. Okay. Or to the character and column in the collect table. That goes over my head, but where is it? It's not here! You put spellcasting here, but you didn't put the cleric table here, D&D? Really? That's kind of stupid. Where's the cantrips then? Hit die, D8, primary weapon wisdom. I mean, and that's also specialization. Why would you spec it in anything but exactly what your class needs? Like, why would you ever use strength with the clerk in D&D if it's just going, it's the same problem in DC20. That's pretty equal. Except D&D is less ham-fisted with forcing you into specialization, than DC20 is, but still. Alright. Level 2, let's go to level 10. Let's see how powerful they are at level 10. Oh, we can't. Oh, no. So are those levels just suggestions? Understand that the book is not finished. But for 30, but it's not doing the Kickstarter justice, let's say. Epic Boom talent, like these feels to me like these are just promises. Like, oh, one day you'll be able to do Epic Boom talent, but it's not here yet. You gotta go level 2. If you wanted to play DC20 right now, you can only go up to level 2, which is okay. I mean, is my game better? Not necessarily, but it allows, but you can more easily do it. Like, you have to homebrew an epic boom talent without any, an epic boom talent without any idea of what one is, of what one would be appropriate for Clark to play LOS in Clark right now in 2024, as the Kickstarter is going on. Whereas with my game, you play level 10. You just can. There's enough things in the book so you can easily play a level 10. You can get that level and play it. So yeah, like that's not. And I plan on even adding more stuff to that to differentiate levels a bit more. Like maybe adding you get one extra dice per you get an extra dice per trait for every level or something like that. Traits are my attributes, by the way. But yeah, no, like if you wanted to, like, sorry, we only got 2 levels, so let's look at these 2 levels then. I mean, to be fair, D&D, where are all your spells and your cantrips and stuff like that? Like, how are you supposed to pick through them using just this book? Well, let's look at the let's find the correct table then. Two. Yeah, it's not in this book. Oh, D&D. Oh, D&D. That's. I mean, when DC20 does something like that stupid, that's one thing. When you do something that's stupid, that's something else. Why am I isn't it in the book? Kind of seems like this is just without. Sorry about that. Windows 11 crashed. Like I said, I've been having issues with it all day. And also, apparently I'm quiet. I don't know why I'm quiet, because I'm not quiet on my recorder. And I'm not quite sure why. That's weird. Oh, probably because... No, I'm not quiet on my recorder, so that's weird. That's just weird. But anyway. So sorry about that. Sorry about that last clip not having any of the video in it because, well, it crashed. I just been having this problem since I woke up like 5 minutes ago, or like I'm well, more like 30 minutes ago, but still. But that's pretty much it. Let's look at the level 2 then. Channel of Divinity. They have a similar flavor. Almost like this is a D&D clone. They have similar flavor. Like DC20 is a D&D like, or even a D&D clone, depending on how you view things. But yeah. So they're very similar, but DC20 is much more streamlined and open for player choice, but also much heavier in the specialization. Like, it doesn't allow you to. I mean, again, it suffers from the DC20 thing of why have one thing we can have 5 do the same thing just differently, which to be fair is a problem in D&D RPGs in general. For example, Star Wars D6 has the same problem. It is brawl and melee. And from brawl and melee, you got parry and defense. melee, well, brawl defense and melee and parry defense. Brawl is unarmed and melee is with a weapon. That doesn't matter to me at all. Like, I don't understand why that needs to be two things. However, in the defense of Star Wars D6, that game is also, by the way, 30 years old. DC20 is barely, I want to say barely 10 years old at the start of its development. And you could even say is not even out yet. Star Wars C6 has been out for 30 years. DC20 is not out yet. It's in early access. It's in development. So, yeah. You expect different things from different games that are different. And DC20 just isn't what you expect. Assuming the price was even, well, I guess would it be worth it if the price was actually, $20 or so, for $20 or so for PDF? I would say yes to someone who wants a higher crunch D&D. Yes, I would say yes to someone who wants a higher crunch D&D, like I said in the title, because the title for me is always the final say. Like my final idea of what I wanted to say in the video is the title. That's just a thing with my channel is my channel, my titles are based on my final thought in that video, or the overview of the video, kind of too. But yeah, Channel Divinity. Is there Channel Divinity? There's also Channel Divinity. Oh, that's nice. Okay, and then 1,000 different words to just explain what you can be said in one paragraph. Once for a long rest, you can spend 3 AP to call your deity to intervene on your behalf when your need is great to replenish you or your allies. Make a DC drat. That wasn't a good sign. That wasn't a good sign to the ability. I might need to get off the daily update path because I record, but I think I'll be right back. Okay, let's try that again. No, what do you want Channel Divinity? You gain the ability to direct the power of your DD once per short rest. When you use this feature, choose one of the following options: Censor Undead, Censor Divine. And what is Channel Divinity for D&D? At second level, you gain the ability to channel divine energy directly from your D&D to using the energy to fuel magical effects. You start with such effects turn undead and determine an effect determined by your domain. Some domains grant you additional effects as you advance in levels, as noted in domain description. When you choose your channel divinity, choose which effect to create. Okay, similar flavor. Turn undead, channel divinity, turn undead. What as an action you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer censoring the undead. Each undead each undead that can see or hear you within 30 seconds wisdom throw save. If the creature fails the saving throw, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Turn creature must spend its turns trying to move as far away as it can. Okay, you do that with half the words, Day. You do half the words. So censor undead in DC20. You spend 2 AP to censor all undead creatures who can see or hear you within 5 spaces. Make a spell check contested by the target's repeated mental save. Say failure, the target is stunned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. That's higher crunch. Oh man, is that a lot of crunch. So you're saying instead of just failing a save for a period of time or until damage you run away, you're saying yes to every saying has to every one of their turns has to make a mental save. That's a lot of work for the GM. I mean, maybe the GM can put that on the player, but like, that's a lot of crunch. I mean, yes, it's not a terrible thing. Like, a lot of people want high crunch in their games. But I don't like. I think I like how between these two spells, I like how D&D says it better. Oddly enough, it says it with a lot more words, but it's fully explained. Sensor Undead, on the other hand, isn't. Like, what's a repeated mental save? Oh, make a spell check. Yeah, what's a repeated? Yeah, by repeated, what do you mean? I assume every turn. Is this explained anywhere else in the book? A page number would have been nice, or a way, or it being bold, like say failure would be nice. Um, or a quicker explanation, or just saying repeated mental save every one turn would be nice. Oh no, it says on the save, no, it says for safe failure, the target is stunned for 1 minute until it takes damage. Yeah, that's one of the worst. That's one of the more poorly read bits of DC20, but yeah, you can play with it. It isn't broken. So yeah. And which one do I prefer in general? I mean, it kind of depends on what you want out of a TTRPG. You can have fun with both. DC20 is very, very video gamey, very, very video gamey, especially with how much tracking you gotta have. Whereas D&D is much better suited for pen and paper, at least for cleric. It might be different for other classes, but you can try. You can look at that. You can look at that in our video. Um, but we have already gone on for a while now, just one class, and I think it pretty well demonstrates the difference. Um, Also, in DC20 doesn't explain the knight version of a cleric, the paladin version of the cleric. It just explains the. He only has stuff for the priestly version of the cleric. Interesting. Well, actually, let's glimpse at Druid. Get rid Druid, the fighter, one fighter, fighter. You can do anything with a billion different words for something done paragraph. And then these tables might as well just be copy and pasted from each other with different data in them. They probably are. Because you don't get different class features and whatnot. You don't get different things in the feature segment, but you do get different stats. Which I wish you got different things in the feature segment just to mix things up a bit. Just to mix things up a bit. With certain levels, like I want to say like every 5, you get the same thing in each class just to keep things consistent. But every class has beyond that has the different things. And again, there's always a class that breaks the rule. But anyway, first 7 gain 1. SB we prefer. Yeah, it's very similar to how the Clark works, which is good. That's good. Yeah. This was very, very cloney. It's not likey. It's very DC20. I mean, yeah. I mean, DC20 in its wholeness is more of a like, but the classes are very, very cloned. They are very, very similar to each other. Again, like the DC20 classes are much more streamlined much easier to read and get going to play. However, they're much higher crunch. They require much more out of the GM and the player in order to play as rules as read. Up to you if that's a good or a bad thing. I don't think I could do it personally, but it's up to you if that's a good or a bad thing. Whereas D&D is more for, it's less crunchy, but it's it's less crunchy and more flavorful. It's much more flavorful. It's much easier to roleplay in D&D than I would say in DC20. They do the exact same thing, yes, but DC20 is so high crunch, it's hard to really roleplay it. Whereas D&D is much easier to roleplay. Less harsh with the numbers, more on just the effect. Which, if you want a competitive D&D, look at DC20. If you want more roleplay D&D, look at 5e, for example. But anyway, sorry about the issues I've been having with the volume being low and Windows 11 just today. But I need to go back on the stable path of Windows because this was just unacceptable having these crashes today. But anyway, so yeah, that was sure thanks for watching. The commenter did explain what they wanted out of DC20 and D&D. Essentially, they wanted to make their own class strat. Okay, that was scary. They want to make their own. I'll be right back. Okay, let's try that again. No, what do you want challenge divinity? You gain the ability to direct the power of your D&D once per short rest. When you use this feature, choose one of the following options: Censor Undead, Censor Divine. And what is channel divinity for D&D? At second level, you gain the ability to channel divine energy directly from your D&D to using the energy to fuel magical effects. You start with such effects turn undead and determine an effect determined by your domain. Some domains grant you additional effects as you advance in levels, as noted in domain description. When you choose your channel divinity, you choose which effect to create. Okay, similar flavor. Turn undead, channel divinity, turn undead. What as an action you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer censoring the undead. Each undead each undead that can see or hear you within 30 seconds with wisdom throw save. If the creature fails the saving throw, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Turn creature must spend its turns trying to move as far away as it can. Okay, you can do that with half the words, Dandy. You can do half the words. So censor undead in DC20. You spend 2 AP to censor all undead creatures who can see or hear you within 5 spaces. Make a spell check contested by the target's repeated mental save. Say failure, the target is stunned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. That's higher crunch! Oh man, is that a lot of crunch! So you're saying instead of just failing a save for a period of time or until damage you run away, you're saying yes to every one of their turns has to make a mental save. That's a lot of work for the GM. I mean, maybe the GM can put that on the player, but like, that's a lot of crunch. I mean, yes, it's not a terrible thing. Like a lot of people want high crunch in their games. But I don't like. I think I like how between these two spells, I like how D&D says it better. Oddly enough, it says it with a lot more words, but it's fully explained. Sensor Undead, on the other hand, isn't. Like, what's a repeated mental save? Oh, make a spell check. Yeah, what's a repeated? Yeah, what's by repeated? What do you mean? I assume every turn. Is this explained anywhere else in the book? A page number would have been nice, or a way, or it being bold, like say failure would be nice. Um, or a quicker explanation, or just saying repeated mental save every one turn would be nice. Oh no, it says on the safe. No, it says for safe failure, the target is stunned for 1 minute until it takes damage. Yeah, that's one of the worst. Poorly. That's one of the more poorly read bits of DC20. But yeah, you can play with it. It isn't broken. So yeah. And which one do I prefer in general? I mean, it kind of depends on what you want out of a TTRPG. You can have fun with both. DC20 is very, very video gamey, very, very video gamey, especially with how much tracking you gotta have. Whereas D&D is much better suited for pen and paper, at least for cleric. It might be different for other classes, but you can try. You can look at that. You can look at that in our video. Um, well, we have already gone on for a while now, just one class, and I think it pretty well demonstrates the difference. Um, Also, in DC20 doesn't explain the knight version of a cleric, the paladin version of the cleric. It just explains the. He only has stuff for the priestly version of the cleric. Interesting. Well, actually, let's glimpse that druid. Okay, druid, fighter, one fighter, fighter. And do anything with a billion different words for something done paragraph. And then these tables might as well just be copy and pasted from each other with different data in them. They probably are. Because you don't get different class features and whatnot. You don't get different things in the feature segment, but you do get different stats. Which I wish you got different things in the feature segment just to mix things up a bit. Just to mix things up a bit. With certain levels, like I want to say like every 5, you get you get the same thing in each class just to keep things consistent. But every class has beyond that has the different things. And again, there's always a class that breaks the rule. But anyway, first time I gain one, SB we prefer. Yeah, it's very similar to how the Clark works, which is good. That's good. Yeah. This was very, very cloney. It's not likey. It's very DC20. I mean, yeah. I mean, DC20 in its wholeness is more of a like, but the classes are very, very cloned. They are very, very similar to each other. Again, like the DC20 classes are much more streamlined, much easier to read and get going to play. However, they're much higher crunch. They require much more out of the GM and the player in order to play as rules as read. Um, Up to you if that's a good or a bad thing. I don't think I could do it personally, but it's up to you if that's a good or a bad thing. Whereas D&D is more for, it's less crunchy, but I mean it's less crunchy and more flavorful. It's much more flavorful, it's much easier to roleplay in D&D than I would say in DC20. They do the exact same thing, yes, but DC20 is so high crunch, it's hard to really roleplay it, whereas D&D is much easier to roleplay. Less harsh with the numbers, more on just the effect. Which, if you want a competitive D&D, look at DC20. If you want more roleplay D&D, look at 5e, for example. But anyway, sorry about the issues I've been having with the volume being low and Windows 11 just today. But I need to go back on the stable path of Windows because this was just unacceptable having these crashes today. But anyway, so yeah, I been sure thanks for watching. And the commenter did explain what they wanted out of DC20 and D&D. Essentially, they wanted to make their own class, right? Okay, that was scary. They want to make their own. I'll be right back. Essentially, they want to make their own class, which, outside of Homebrew, rules as written, neither system does really well at all. And they want to be more of a generalist as well, which again neither DC20 or D&D 5e does very well at all. They're fun to multi-class, yes, but they're not really made to be a generalist. Both want you to be a specialist. However, there are games nowadays that you can do what they wanted to do and what they said they wanted to do. There's Sega's by OKSDM, and then of course there's Arbitrary by me. By me and Green and Blue. But both games allow you to have much more variety and just in general class of systems. Like I believe even Knave could be that way. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really read a Knave book because they're so expensive. Because they're 80 pages and they're $20. You're crazy. But anyway, so yeah. Like you would want to look at a classes system if you want to do more than just a class can do. If you want to be more of a generalist or do really, really funky stuff with the abilities in the game, you want to look at a classes game like Sega's Arbitrium or a Knave. A Knave is the only one of those three that's a D&D like or clone. I mean, it's all sorry, but it's all D&D like or clone. But anyway, alright, that'd be this video. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you watching. And again, both are good. Neither one isn't superior to the other, unless it's just in your ballpark. Both are fine. Both are fine. If I had to choose one personally, I would choose D&D. It's less crunchy. I would choose D&D. It's less crunchy. It's less specialist. And yeah, even though it's less streamlined, I would choose D&D over DC20 first classes. But anyway, because I was able to make a character in D&D. I haven't been able to make a character in DC20 yet. And yeah, but anyway. Alright, that's for real. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this video, there's lots of else a lot to be checking out stuff in this channel, such as Space Force channel, which of course Best Space Force channels watching education content reproduced by sharing friends and stuff. Alright, this video. Thanks for watching, and I guess see you in a second.